We'll do it live. We are live. Rick Kamla and Hall of Famer Steve Alexander here on the Fantasy NBA today, presented by FanDuel. How you guys doing? Doc, how you doing, dude? We got some news. We got some signings. We've got some Eurobasket popping. We're going to do target, avoid, a little reality check in the Southeast Division. We got a banger prepared for these people.
Well, good, because I'm coming off a little bit of an embarrassing situation last night. I was playing in the local 9-ball tournament over there at the Legion, and the games are best of 3. So if you win 2 out of 3, you advance to play another game. And I didn't lose all night. I got to the final round in the winner's bracket without any losses. I played my buddy Mike, and I made a shot that I thought won me the entire tournament, but it did not. It won me one little game, meaningless game out of a 3-game set. So I'm celebrating, hot dogging like friggin' Dion dancing after a touchdown. And they're like, "What are you doing? You didn't win anything." And I was like, "What?" And then the guy came back and just whooped me.
Oh, so you stole your own momentum, dude. You just killed your own momentum.
All right, dude, I pre-celebrated. and there may have been a beverage or two that confused me as to where we were in
understood
in the numbers. But man, it was tough. I was playing so good, and then I lost. So I'm looking forward to some news and some Southeast Conference and getting back in it here with Ricky Pipes.
Yes. Dude, I just want to say this, okay? I am so happy, Doc, that fantasy football draft season is over. I am, and look, I love it. Dude, it seems like every night, like I'll be at the beach 1:30 on Saturday afternoon. I got to do a damn draft, right? Like, I mean, I'm in all these dynasty leagues, and it's just been like boom, 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 boom. I'm suffocating over here. So last night, dude, in a home league with like Sites and Dave King and all those guys, all like the, my
League
old
freak.
buddies from college, league freak and all, but this is the football version of that, right? It's called Dave Bowl. The auction draft took 3 hours, dude. I absolutely hate an auction draft. However, last night I finally got the calculations right, Doc. You know why? Because I waited. I'm trying to go for Bijan Robinson and spend, a third of my cap very early, and then you're screwed money-wise the whole auction. So I waited. I was patient. I got pretty much all value picks the whole way. I got a deep team, and I'm ready to maybe try to go win this league. But I can drop my bags, dude. I'm so happy I'm done drafting right now.
Well, I have the opposite problem. I only had one fantasy football draft this year, which is an all-time record for me in the last 30 years. But like you, I am generally speaking one of the worst auction drafters of all time. I spend all my money on the big, shiny, flashy. Give me Luka and give me Wemby, and then the rest of my team is Jay Huff and Paul Mokeski. And I never do well in auction drafts. I love it. Every year I go in, I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to do it. I'm going to save my money. I'm going to be smart this year. Nope.
So
I can't do it.
I was trying to do it on the app, right? And the app was literally buying players for me because I was literally playing drums at the beginning of the draft, Doc. Playing drums and making music. I did not even want to see the board for a half hour, okay? And so I tune in, and I have Jamar Chase for 80, and I have Trey McBride for 39. I'm like, how? I literally did not make one bid. And I ended up with 2 players. So they had to like back it out and redo that. And there were a bunch of people pissed at me. But I'm like, I ain't going out like that. Literally, because I'm not even trying to buy players right now. And I end up with 2 overpriced players. ESPN, get your you-know-what together. All right? Literally, I'm on the app. I should be able to do an auction draft from my app. I couldn't. And it wasn't a connection thing. It was their app. So let's get into this, dude. Some news around the league. Shout out to the homie, Doc, Cam Thomas. Shout out to the homie.
1 year.
Dude, 1 year and $6 million for Cam Thomas. I mean, bro, I'm so the bigger crime against humanity is WNBA salaries. And I'm not going to say a but. I'm going to say an and. And the current CBA for the National Basketball Association is so one-sided, dude. Dude, Cam Thomas wanted like 20, 25, 30 million a year. He got 6, bro. Kelly Oubre is making more money this year than Cam Thomas.
Yeah. And Rick, you were not on that podcast, but Brewski and I about a year ago had a salary cap CBA expert. I can't remember his name. I'm sure Andre knows who it was on the show. And he's like, man, this new deal is going to make it very hard for cool stuff to happen. It's going to make it hard for teams to trade. It's going to make it hard for teams to sign people. It's just, it's not really, it doesn't appear to be great for anybody. And I think this is a sign of that. Like, he thought he was going to get 20 and he got 6. That's not cool. That's like when you take your car in, you're going to trade your car in at the dealership. You're like, this thing's got to be worth at least, $12,000. They're like, we'll give you a 7.5 for it. And you're like, what? That's Cam Thomas right now.
That's Cam. That's a good analogy right there.
Trevor Lane was the gentleman's name. Trevor Lane. If you want to find out CBA stuff, money stuff, he's a good guy to follow.
So shout out to Trevor Lane. There's a fantasy spin here, Doc. Brooklyn does not want Cam Thomas. They've made that abundantly clear. They don't want to pay him. Cam Thomas had to take the qualifying offer. That is a perfunctory offering by the team. They have to do that. That's how you retain the rights of the players, extending that qualifying offer to him. And then you negotiate, typically, a bigger deal, restricted free agency-wise. The Nets are like, bro, we don't want you, okay? We don't want you around here anymore. So they just sat back with their arms crossed all offseason. And Cam Thomas is like, bro, it's September. Screw it. I'll take the bag. Give me $6 million, and I'm out of here. And so if you're the Nets, it's very easy to trade him, bring him off the bench, drop his minutes. He turns an ankle. We curb him. We never play him. This is bad news for fantasy, dude, because if Cam Thomas signed 3 years, 60 mil with Brooklyn, 20 million a year, we know he's a big part of the plan and they're going to play him a lot. 1 year and 6 million means he's halfway out the door, bro.
Yeah. And it should be a good thing for him because he'd be motivated. He's got to play for a contract and a new team next year. And he needs minutes. He needs to be in the spotlight. And like you just said, we don't know if they're going to even let him play or not. So it makes him a pretty risky, a lot of risk with not a ton of reward fantasy draft prospect. I probably will be avoiding Cam Thomas this year. Even when it's late and it's time to take him, I may let him go another round. I mean, somebody's going to draft him just based on his past stats, but seems too risky for me.
So, like, I'd rather have a McCollum. I would even rather mess around with guys that I really don't want, like oh god, just blanked.
Benedict Mathurin.
No, I mean I like Mathurin. I'm thinking like I'm thinking about some of the guys that I've got all that upside built into. Anthony Simons, guys like that. Guards that I'm kind of trying to avoid. But if it was between like Simons and Cam Thomas, I'm going to take Simons. And this deal has a lot to do with that. PJ Wash. Who would you take?
Who would you take between Johnny Kuminga and Cam Thomas?
Neither.
All right.
If I had to take one of them, I'd take Cam Thomas. Because Cam Thomas is going to play for a period of time for the Brooklyn Nets this year. That's going to happen. And he's going to average 20 to 25 PPG in those games that he plays. And not a whole lot else, but 20 to 25 PPG is something. And he'll be like 2.5 3 balls. So I'd say, what's your answer to that?
The same as yours, neither. And then I'd go Cam, and then I'd go Kuminga.
As Doc would say, Johnny Kaminga, I'm into you, bro. Like the reality side of it. I'm not into you on the fantasy side of it. And your coach is a big reason why. Get him, sick him. The Dallas Mavericks, Doc, through 4 years and $90 million. This is like a totally random signing, right? September 3rd, I believe, is when it came out, and then bam, PJ Washington all of a sudden gets paid. Okay. 4 years, $90 million. And so the opposite of the Cam Thomas thing. This is phenomenal news for PJ Washington's fantasy value. And as a matter of fact, as you talk, Doc, I'm going to see if we have a live ranking update here because, dude, when you get 4 years and $90 million, they're not going to play you 20 minutes a game. They're not gonna, dude. They're not going to play him 20 minutes a game with him making over $20 million a year. This is fantastic news for PJ Washington's fantasy value, Doc. This, to me, guarantees him of 26 minutes a game. Probably guarantees him of 28 minutes a game. And it also tells me that Dallas is going to go very big this year, Doc, and kind of get away from the guard spot and play a lot of bigs out there.
I'm not as fired up as you are. I mean, I just don't see where those minutes are going to come from if Anthony Davis is healthy. Davis doesn't want to play center. They have Gafford, who's healthy. They have Lively, who's not healthy. They have Cooper Flagg, who needs tons of minutes. Now, if Davis goes down, then PJ's the man. And maybe that's why they're giving him so much money, because they already know that Anthony Davis is not going to be on the court every game. I don't know. It's great money. It's great. It's a great deal for PJ. Given Anthony Davis's health situation year in and year out, PJ Washington has fantasy value. I just don't know how they insert him into the fray if Davis is fully healthy. But maybe Davis is going to fill in for Lively, and I don't know. I don't know.
So
weird.
I think I have a good read on this. Jason Kidd's a quirky coach, Doc. He's quirky. He's always doing stuff like, dude, he started Dwight Powell for like 5 years. Like it wasn't 5, but like, why? Why are you starting him, bro? And then he was starting him over like JaVale McGee, who brought so much more to the wood. And like, so Jason Kidd has just done some mysterious stuff. I think Kidd, Doc, what makes sense to me is to probably start Klay Thompson ceremoniously. He plays the first 5. You pull him out. PJ Washington comes in. And then PJ Washington is your predominant guy the rest of the game. And you kind of go positionless with it. You're going to have a 5 out there. Davis, Flagg, Washington, and probably either, D'Lo, Brandon Williams, one of those types of guys. It doesn't make any sense to operate any other way for this team. So we can move on here, but I think there's going to be significant minutes for PJ Washington, even if he's got to come off the bench. We may be talking about the 6th man of the year here. But like Doc said, if Davis blows a tire, something like that, then the PJ's just going to be absolutely fantastic. By the way, he had a career year last year, but now he's getting paid. Makes me feel better about it. And we are the fantasy.
I just pulled a Rick Kamla right there. I was trying to ask you, can PJ Washington be any better than he was last year, or was that his ceiling?
I think he can be better than last year, Doc, but I don't think he's going to hit that ceiling this year, if that makes sense. Like, I think he can do what he did last year again, but he's got to be put up to bat like that again. And like, we're trying to find minutes for him right now. So I'm not sure he's going to be fully put up to bat like that. Because you remember, no Kyrie Irving, all kinds of injuries, and PJ, no Anthony Davis, right? That helped PJ Washington's numbers really go up. But Davis is going to be in there. They've added Cooper Flagg. So I don't think he's going to do what he did last year. He is a bit of a fade for me because of that, Doc, but he's not like a Josh Hart, you're dead to me fade. I'll mess with PJ at the right spot, but it would be late, very, very late. All right, let's move on. I want to hit you, Doc. Oh, we got to talk about the NBA investigating the LA Clippers. I absolutely positively love this story. I got a name drop super quick, dude. I'm buddies with Adam Smirnoff, the guitarist in Lettuce, right? And he told me a long time ago about salary cap circumvention, right? It was backstage at a show in St. Pete, and we talk hoops, right? So he's going into all this, and I'm, it's late. I've had a couple of beers. I'm kind of like, my head is like hurting, dude, because he was going into numbers and stuff like that. So he calls me out of the blue yesterday and is like, told you. I'm like, told me what? I didn't even see the Kawhi news yet. I was working. And so we talked for about 45 minutes. But here are the details on this. And he said he knows a lot of people in great spots in the NBA. So he was giving me some insider information on it. It was very, very cool. I cannot share that information here, but it's just good to have in my brain. So Shams reported the NBA is investigating Kawhi Leonard's contract for possible salary cap violations. Pablo Torre, okay, he's the new sheriff in town, Doc. Wednesday morning, he revealed his findings regarding Kawhi Leonard's receiving 28 million. This is so laughable, and it makes me love Steve Ballmer so much more, okay? Like, Ballmer wants to win so bad. Dude, check this out. Kawhi Leonard got a $28 million endorsement, $28 million from a fraudulent tree brokerage company. What? Funded by Clippers owner Steve Ballmer. According to the investigation, the Clipper star performed no work in exchange for the endorsement deal. So laughable. Check this out. So the NBA is going to investigate it. I don't know. It's probably going to mean first round picks or a pick or, kind of maybe a Joe Smith thing, but less so because it's not Stern, it's Silver. Check this out. The company Aspiration filed for bankruptcy in March with an LLC connected to Leonard on the list of creditors. Also, it says Aspiration owes KL2 Aspire LLC, whatever the hell that is, $7 million, and its co-founder Joseph Sandberg was arrested in March under allegations that he conspired to defraud investors of $145 million. Steve Ballmer got a problem on his hands, bro. But I do like the desire to win that's involved here with the salary cap circumvention. But how do you process this?
I don't know. It's funny that the dude was calling you yesterday because my one of my best buddies here, John, does not follow NBA basketball whatsoever. He's one of those guys that's slow on news, and I have to educate the guy half the time. And yesterday morning, he's like, "Did you see that Kawhi Leonard conspiracy stuff that's out there and his fake company?" And I'm like, yeah, but how'd you see it? Anyway, I don't know what to make of it, man. My first thought is Ballmer's in trouble. Like the Clippers they're in trouble. Like what do you think the maximum penalty they could get would be? I don't think Kawhi is going to get like suspended or anything. But.
No. This is on, and it's funny. Like the player's just going to walk away from this like, yo, man, I don't know. They gave me $28 million and shrugged their shoulders. No,
not my problem.
Not my problem. Maybe he's got to give the money back, although I doubt that. I don't know. I don't know how that looks, Doc. I don't know what kind of like federal legal issues Ballmer may have. I don't know. I'm not that smart to figure that out. What I will tell you, Doc, is I believe it's going to be 2 first-round picks. But because it's Adam Silver, I'm probably just going to say 1. And you think about Steve Ballmer, right? Do you think Steve Ballmer and Adam Silver are boys? Yes, they are. It's the billionaire boy club, okay? And Silver's not a billionaire, although he may be close. But dude, you're not going at Steve Ballmer. I don't think you're going at Steve Ballmer all that hard. But maybe you got to like make an example of him and send a message to the rest of the league and like really hard bang on him, because that's what Stern did to the Wolves. But it's way easier to do that and punk Glenn Taylor than it is to punk Steve Ballmer. Steve Ballmer could eat Glenn Taylor. Do you know what I'm saying? If you compare empires.
Well, plus Ballmer can fund the league if he wanted to. Like he's got stupid money. So I don't know, man. It will be interesting to see what, like what the courts have to say about this, what the feds have to say about this, because it's a lot of money that we're talking about, and it's for a company that doesn't even really exist. So I don't know. 2 first rounders. I mean, I could see that happening. Man, the Clippers better win now. They better win this year.
Good point. This turns up the heat a little more, right? Again, I got to read this one more time. Kawhi Leonard received $28 million in an endorsement deal from a fraudulent tree brokerage company. I had no idea that trees needed brokering, bro. No idea. Or that it could be such a lucrative business when in fact it's really not even a business. It's a fraudulent tree brokerage company. Doc, just when you thought you've seen it all, we get this story right here. It is the Fantasy NBA Today presented by FanDuel. Rick Kamla, Hall of Famer Steve Alexander, the Great. Do we call him Andre the Great? He is the man of a million nicknames, okay? Algorithm Andre, AI Andre, Andre GPT, Andre the Great, Andre the Giant, all that kind of stuff. He's the man. All right, Southeast Division, Doc. Here's how we roll. We're talking players to target, players to avoid, and then we'll do a reality check on these basketball teams. Let's start with the Atlanta Hawks. Who are you targeting on the Hawkies?
Hey, what order are you going in? Are you going alphabetically?
I don't know. I just picked.
You're
teams.
just picking a team.
I just when I did it, I just went. I maybe did it a little bit by relevance.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit, but there wasn't a whole lot of thought in it. Just slap 5 teams up.
Because I couldn't keep up last time, and I was trying to figure out the pattern. And then this time I'm like, he must be going by how they finished in the Southeast Division last year. So I had Orlando all queued up, and you're like, Caca!
We used to do that in the studio in Atlanta at NBA TV all the time. All the like cameramen, and it was a running joke. You'd come up behind somebody and scare them. It was a thing. We love it. We got Shaq doing it. Dude, Shaq does it.
TNT, yeah.
Shaq does it now. That's a thing in Atlanta. That's a thing. I love that.
I am targeting Jalen Johnson, Dyson Daniels, and Trae Young. I want all 3 of them.
Oh, man. I'm going to – I had to drink some water, bro. That was like I was cacaing my voice. I'm close to with you. Trae Young, Jalen Johnson, absolutely. And as I wrote Jalen Johnson's name down, I'm like, he's got a clean slate. He's got one more clean slate. One more. All right. You do it to me again, Jalen. I'm trading you in Cam Dynasty, and I'm going to trade you to Andre. Okay. I bet you Andre would be after year 3 of injury to Jalen Johnson. Andre's going to be like, come to Papa. And maybe Andre and I can stroke a trade. Although I actually, Doc, Andre said here. So we'll see how that plays out, man. But Okongwu is on my target list. Daniels is not, which, obviously marries with a lot of the offseason conversation we have had. But I'll stick with the targets right now. I'm not going to take Okongwu over Klingon or Sarr or Vucevic. Probably not even Gobert, but like if it's super deep and I'm in a deep league or something like that, Doc, and it's just the right time, I'm going to take Okongwu because his numbers are going to be good even as a bench player. But Doc, there's a possibility he starts and Porzingis starts. We don't know that yet. I don't think that's going to happen, but that is a possibility. But you know what's an even more likelihood, Doc? Porzingis playing half the games. And you know that if Porzingis plays half the games, Okongwu is going to be a freaking rock star in those games.
Yeah, you're right. And Okongwu's got a nice fantasy skill set. Shoots threes, blocks shots. Again, I think we're still waiting for him to get a full-time starting position in the spotlight, and we're still waiting. Clint Capella's gone, woo, and now we got to deal with Porzingis being there, which was one of the bigger off-season signings that there was. So that's that's tough on a Okongwu. I don't see a Okongwu being on a lot of my teams. I don't have a problem with drafting him. But I think when people are taking a Okongwu, I'm going to be looking for a full timer at that point. But you mentioned that Porzingis and Okongwu and Jalen Johnson might all start, and if that happens, it would mean Zach Reese-Shea would not be starting. And is Zach Reese-Shea? We've had number one picks that have been full blown busts, right? Like there are a couple guys. The guy from Canada a few years ago.
Anthony Bennett.
There's been some busts at number one, but have we had a more irrelevant number one pick ever than Zach Reese-Shea? I think people just like nobody. He's a pretty good player, has some pretty good stat lines throughout the year, but overall, like he's just so overlooked. He gets no respect, as Rodney Dangerfield would say.
Quickly going back to the summer league when Zach Reese-Shea was a rookie, right? So it's Reese-Shea, Sarr, all those guys. So the summer league had signage to promote, and it would be on TV, and it was all over Las Vegas, right? They had signage. Alex Sarr was on the signage. Bronny James was on the signage. Jalen Brunson and Victor Wembanyama was on the. I can't remember what it was exactly, dude. It was. My point is in the side. I think it might have been just Sarr and Bronny. My point is the signage for the summer league where they're promoting the rookies and jamming the rookies down our throats. Zach Reese-Shea, the number one overall pick in that draft, was not on that signage. I can't remember. It was Sarr and Bronny and I think one other guy. I can't remember who that other guy was. But it was me. Me and Antonio Daniels talked about it on NBA radio. It was the whole thing. Like, I can't believe Reese-Shea is not on the signage right now. How do you just blow off the first overall pick? But they did. And to your point, I'm so far away from an evaluation on is he a bust or not, right? I'm just not even close to making that judgment yet. And I don't think he's trending towards Bustamundo. I don't. I think he's got a good skill set. I mean, Doc, theoretically, he could be a good 3-block steal guy. Okay, he's long, he's active, he's athletic, he's got a motor. And so I'm just kind of waiting and seeing, you know what I'm saying? But Quinn Snyder doesn't seem like he's a huge fan of his. Didn't run him huge minutes last year. You've got NAW, you brought in Porzingis, that crunches it even more, Doc, right? Luke Kennard, great call. And Jalen Johnson's going to be back, whereas he barely played at all last year. So I see a crunch for Reese-Shea, bro. And he's an avoid player for me. Daniels is an avoid player just because of the career year factor, and he'll be drafted higher than I want to take him. I don't hate him. It's not a Josh Hart fade where I just will not do business with you. I would, but I won't because he'll be drafted too high, and Porzingis obviously is an avoid for me. All right, reality question for you here on the Hawks, Doc. Are they going to be a top 6 team in the Eastern Conference?
Interesting question. Because they added Porzingis, they're getting Jalen back. They have Dyson, they have Trey. They added pieces, NAW and Luke Kennard. But the East is tough. You know, that would mean for them to do that, they would need to knock Boston out. Boston would have to drop out. And then the Hawks would have to get in over like Miami and Orlando. So I'm going to say no.
I'm going to say no as well, but they're going to give it a hell of a run, Doc. I think Milwaukee, Atlanta, and Indiana are going to be vying. And I'll put Miami in there too, to a degree, for 5 and 6. I think those 4 teams are going to vie for 5 and 6. I think there's a clear-cut top 4 in the East: Cleveland, New York, Orlando, and Detroit. To me, that's clear-cut. That's chalky all day. And then the 4 teams that I mentioned are going to be vying for 5 and 6, 7 and 8. That's just how I see the East. Philly, I don't know what the hell to do with Philly. I don't. And we know that Chicago is going to be in 10th place, okay, because it's preordained. Let's move on to the Orlando Magic, Doc.
Did we cover avoid at all costs Hawks besides research? I just want to say I'm avoiding. I didn't say my avoid, so I'll say mine. I'm not drafting Kristaps Porzingis under any circumstances. And I'm not drafting Zach Ricochet. There. All right, let's go. Next team.
Yeah, I had Ricochet, Daniels, Porzingis. All right, so we're on the same page there. Orlando, Doc, get us started here with the players you are targeting.
Well, obviously, Paolo Banchero, I think, is on everybody's list. He's going a little higher than I think we thought he might, and the value is kind of being sucked out there. I'm not opposed to drafting Franz Wagner, but I'm probably not pursuing him because I think the arrival of Desmond Bane is going to hurt him a little bit. And then Desmond Bane, I like him. Do I like him as much in Orlando as I did in Memphis? Yeah, I mean, I would draft Desmond Bane. I don't think his price tag is going to be super high. And I'd love to say that I'm going to draft Jalen Suggs. Like, I want to target Jalen Suggs, but I don't trust him to stay healthy. So I think really the only guy that I'm like going after on this team is probably Banchero. And, you know, late, and I need a center, just like in that dynasty mock we just did. I got Wendell Carter Jr. with my very last pick in that super deep draft. I'm okay with that.
He is Hall of Famer Steve Alexander. I am Rick Kamla, and this is the Fantasy NBA Today presented by FanDuel. When I finish a bottle of water on the air, I like to do a little like hook shot flip, kind of like a seated skyhook. And I've got my fan on, and the fan just went boom, like Dikembe Mutombo, and just blocked the shot, dude. I was like, damn. Yeah, I just got stuffed like Alonzo Mourning. It's like, no, just gave me that hand. Remember when Bam Adebayo blocked Jason Tatum's shot in that playoff game to like win the game? Remember it was Tatum going in for a dunk, right? That's one of the greatest defensive plays of all time, dude.
Yeah.
Bam Adebayo, we shout you out. Paolo Banchero and Desmond Bane. I just love Bane's stat set, dude. I mean, he's going to give you 25 and 5. He's going to give you 3 balls. He's going to give you a round of steal. You know, the defensive numbers aren't great from Bane. He does care about efficiency. I'm a Bane fan. Paulo's obvious. I mean, he's a true blue second-round pick this year. I'd rather get him at the end of the second round than the beginning of the second round. But players to avoid for me, Doc, Franz Wagner's a soft fade, not a hard fade. Josh Hart is a hard fade. Franz Wagner's a perfect example of a guy I will take, but I'm not going to because I'm going to be looking at other guys when you're taking Franz just because he's a career year guy. Jalen Suggs is a career year guy. By far the best numbers of his career were last year. Obviously, the games played was different than that. But now you got Tyus Jones in there. Now you got Desmond Bane in there, okay? And I think Jalen Suggs, it's going to be more about defense, less about ball handling and shooting like it was last year. And then Wendell Carter, I'm just not a fan. So who are you avoiding on the Magic?
I will never, ever, ever, ever draft Jonathan Isaac.
Mr. 15 minutes a game. Dude, he is on the all-time minutes restriction. They just refuse to play this guy.
He's on the all-time minutes restriction. He's on the all-time overhyped. He's on the all-time gets drafted every year too early and then doesn't play. It's the same thing every season. It's like Groundhog Year with him. It's rough.
And he's making like $17 million a year. Like, Magic, what are you doing with that? And those are my guys. Hammond and Weltman, those are my guys. But what is that? All right, reality question here for the Orlando Magic, Doc. Are they the third best team in the Eastern Conference behind Cleveland and New York? Would you sort that differently?
I actually kind of like them more than I like New York. Your love of New York is interesting to me. Like I feel like you're kind of all in on the Knicks. Like you think they're going to be really, really good. But it's weird because you're like, their coach is soft and I can't stand Josh Hart and Thibodeau's gone. So we don't know what's going on. Like you have all these.
Hold on a second.
You have all these perceived problems with the Knicks, but you love the Knicks.
Hold on a second. You are misportraying my thoughts and words. I'm not saying that Mike Brown is soft. I would never ever say that. I know this man. I'm saying he's softer than Tibbs, right? It's so I'm busting your stones here, Doc. But
No, you're good. I don't want to miss.
Yeah, I'm just having fun with you and playing around and being like comedically dramatic, or at least attempting it. So I'm not, everything's cool. But just comparatively with Tom Thibodeau, but to call him soft, I would say I don't want to own those words. And then you say, hey, Josh Hart, like H is again a strong word. I don't want Josh Hart in fantasy, but Doc, that in reality, I love me some Josh Hart. He's one of the great dogs we have and roll guys and glue guys that we have in the NBA. Huge fan of Josh Hart. I just don't want him on my fantasy team this year. Okay, set the record straight. Go ahead, continue.
Well, no, I mean, I think that maybe my words were a little strong. You don't hate Josh Hart, and Coach is not soft. He's softer than. But we've talked about this. Like, you got Karl Anthony Towns coming out of the locker room like, Coach, I'm just not feeling it tonight. My knee hurts. Okay, buddy, go sit down and take the night off. Like, Thibs, like, well, how many minutes you gonna give me? So I don't really know that I trust the Knicks as much as you do. So I'm going to say that Orlando is going to be the second best team in the East. And if the odds of them winning the East are probably sky high, and I may throw a hundo on that.
I like, you're not a dare to be different guy. Your different is substantiated and supported, right? But I like my boy Doc is ballsy, man. He is not afraid to because that's pretty deviant right there, dude. You know what I'm saying? Orlando's better than New York. That's a deviant opinion. I mean, is that the right word there? Deviant, I guess, means you're some kind of deranged lunatic. I mean different, right? Like kind of very different. Radical might have been a better word for that than deviant.
Radical. Controversial.
It is controversial. Perfect. So, dude, when I do the retweet of the show later, I gotta write that down. I'm putting that in there, dude. Doc gives us a controversial take.
Dude, I'm just saying, Brewski went all in last year on the Detroit Pistons being a lot better than they were the year before. And he nailed it. And I don't know that a lot of people saw that coming. And he almost won a bunch of money on Coach of the Year. I think with the moves that Orlando has made and this whole Desmond Bane addition, they're going to be really good because Paulo's coming on and Franz Wagner's coming on. And Wendell Carter Jr. does this thing and just holds it down, does, serviceable. It really comes down to your guy, Jalen Suggs, your most irrelevant NBA jersey that dude had ever seen, whatever store you were in.
He called it random. Your
random Suggs jersey, which you got to admit, dude, wearing a Jalen Suggs jersey is a little random. Like, if I see a Trae Young jersey, like that makes sense.
Here's the thing. I completely agree. I just didn't like the attitude that was connected to how he said random.
From that young whippersnapper.
It's just a young little 19, 21, whatever, college age kid. Might have been high school age. And there was just too much attitude on it. And, I didn't go full Larry David on him, okay? I went like half Larry David on him. I just went like half Larry David. I checked up because, he's a kid. He's a whippersnapper. He ain't about this smoke, because there was some stuff I could have been like, yeah, what's up with your – and I was just like, no, I'm not doing this today. I could have gone full Larry David, but I did not.
Like water off a duck's back. You just let it go.
Not completely. Like there was a little.
You're still holding on to it today.
No, I just like it. It just like it was a funny conversation.
Oh, but anyway,
they were trying to sell me $45 hats, and I said no. I'm not going to.
It is kind of a random jersey, but I do think that Jalen Suggs is the key to Orlando's success this year. If that dude plays in 75 games,
good call.
If he plays in a bunch of games and he takes over full-time and gets rid of the three-headed monster point guard thing, and runs out there with Paulo and Desbane and Franz, like Orlando's going to be really, really good. So,
all right, man. So we are breaking down the Southeast Division. It's our divisional breakdown here, fantasy-wise, on the Fantasy NBA Today, presented by FanDuel. Guys, if you're listening to this show, one thing is for sure, you're a fantasy basketball diehard, and we love you. You're in the right place to win a championship with us, because if you want the ultimate edge, go to sportsethos.com. The Brewski 150 drops for Ethos 360 subscribers on September 30th. Kamla's Pop Players, hey, that's me, October 2nd. Dr. A's My Guys on October 9th. We have much more to offer with our tools, deep dive analysis, and strategy guides. Our draft guide will help you dominate whether you're a beginner or a pro. And if you're playing head-to-head, Roto, Dynasty, Best Ball, Points Leagues, whatever, we got you. So check it out now at sportsethos.com. Doc, let's talk about the Miami Heat, okay? Players to target on the Heat for you are.
Yeah, I figured out the order when you said relevance. So I was good. I was ready for you to say Miami right there. I was all about it. I love Khalil Ware. I'm not a Bam guy. I'm not a Wiggins guy. I love Norm Powell, but I don't love him on the Heat. I'll still draft Norm. My targets are Tyler Hero, Khalil Ware, and with a little sprinkle of Norm Powell thrown in for good, just because I like the guy.
So you will have no Bam.
Nah, I never draft Bam.
Is he, I know I'm jumping here, is he on your avoid list, or is he just not on your target list? Is he in that no man's land?
Yeah, he's just kind of not on my target list. Like, he'd never be a guy I'd put into my queue at the beginning of a draft. Like instead of customizing the draft order, I just go into my queue and just load it up with all my guys that I want in the order that they appear. And that's half the reason I reach for guys, is because I'm just mostly looking in my queue. Now, of course, there are times when I get out of my queue and look at who's the best player remaining. But overall, I just go out and get my guys. But Bam Adebayo, he has a good stat line and he's a good fantasy player. And I have no problem with Bam Adebayo. And it may be part of the problem, maybe that he plays for the Heat, and I've always sort of been down on the Heat every year. I'm higher on the Heat this year than I've ever been, but I don't know. It's not a Bam guy.
I understand, dude. I don't really end up with a lot of Bam either. He's not on my target list. He's not on my avoid list. I mean, I'll take Bam, but there's other guys that I favor when Bam is going like third round. I'm just taking other guys. And it's just a preference thing. I don't dislike Bam. I love him in reality. I mean, the guy's a culture setter. You can win a championship with Bam Adebayo. There's not a doubt in my mind. And right now he is Heat culture. Tyler Hero, and now let me make this clear. There's really one player on the Heat I'm targeting, right? Tyler Hero, full ADP, draft away. Okay, all good with it. Bam Adebayo, if he's supposed to be third round, he falls to the fourth round. I'm like, okay, I'll take Bam here, right? He's got to be around later for me. And then Andrew Wiggins is just a guy in the deep malaise of a draft that if I'm like, damn, I'm a little light on forwards right now, bang, I'll take Wiggins. I don't really want Wiggins, especially with Powell there right now, but he's a guy that like Andrew Wiggins is a decent goody guy. So I kind of just got my eye on him. My avoids, Doc, I have Khalil Ware on my avoid list. And part of the reason why I don't dislike Ware, Norman Powell going there to me, fifth option, bro, you're just catching lobs now. They're not going to run any offense for you ever. You're a garbage man and a lob catcher, and that's it. And I don't know, Doc. It's also him versus a lot of the guys around him at the center position, right? I'd rather have Jay Huff. I'd rather have, Klingon, Sarr, some of the usual suspect guys. So I'm just not really feeling it. I'm not. In a dynasty league, you got a stud in Khalil Ware. He's going to have a terrific career. This year with the construction of this roster, I'm just not really feeling it, dude. And then I got Davion Mitchell on my avoid list as well. Who are you avoiding?
And actually, I was going to add Davion to my list of targets. End of my draft, last pick, I will mess around with Davion Mitchell solely based on how fun he was at the end of last year. And all it's going to take is one injury to this team for Davion to get back out there. Because Tyler Hero is really a shooting guard, more than he is a point guard. Like and it looked like before Norm Powell got to the Heat, it looked like Davion Mitchell was going to start at point guard for them, and like we were all fired up, and I was especially fired up. Now he's a backup, so it's a buzzkill. I will not be drafting Nikola Jovic, who I actually like that guy a lot. I'll pick him up if somebody gets hurt, but I'm not drafting him. I'm not drafting Jaime Jaquez, who I thought was going to be much better by this point of his career than he has been. And I'm probably not drafting Bam. I'm probably not drafting Andrew Wiggins. And also Tyler Hero. Like, I never end up with Tyler Hero on my team, but it's not on purpose. Like, I'm not like avoiding Tyler Hero. He just always goes before I'm ready. I'm always looking at somebody else.
Andre is asking a great question, and we want you guys to ask us questions. The comment section on our YouTube feed and our podcast, YouTube channel podcast feed. Check that out. Ask us questions. We'll work them into the show. He asks, Norman Powell in town helps or hurts Bam's fantasy outlook? I don't think it affects it at all, because he's a number 2 option on this team, and he's Bam Adebayo. Like, he's their number 1. He is the face of the franchise. He is, the leader of the team and all that kind of stuff. So I don't see him dropping in FGAs, Doc. I don't. I think the FGAs are Wiggins is going to get hit. Ware's going to get hit with Norman Powell going there. But I don't think Bam Adebayo is going to go drop suddenly 3 shots a game. Do you?
Not really. No. I like the way you broke it down. Like, he's going to hurt Khalil Ware. He might hurt Wiggins, but he's probably not going to mess with Bam. He's not going to mess with Tyler Hero. He's going to mess with Davion Mitchell. He's going to mess with Jaime Jaquez. I mean, there's lots of guys that are going to take hits.
Good point.
But I don't think Bam and Hero are 2 of them.
All right, Doc, let's move on here in our Southeast Division fantasy breakdown. We have 2 teams to go here, and they're
2
not
really good teams.
Yeah, they're okay. So Washington, Doc, who are you targeting? I actually have a pretty long list of targets on the Wizards. I like a lot of their players, dude. Kind of into the Wiz, dude. They're not my little team that could, though. Don't get me wrong.
If Alex Sarr is healthy, I love Alex Sarr. I still have faith that Koulibaly is going to be a fantasy stud one day. I have this weird love for Bub Carrington that hasn't gone away yet, and I like Corey Kispert and Justin Champagnie if they are playing and in a position to get minutes, which probably not drafting those guys. I'm not drafting Corey Kispert. I'm not drafting Vucevic, but I guarantee you those guys are going to be pickups at some point during the year.
That is Hall of Famer Steve Alexander. I'm Rick Kamla. We're the Fantasy NBA Today, brought to you by FanDuel. Coming up later on in the show, we will have our FanDuel win total of the day. I'm targeting Alex Sarr. I love him. I'm not worried about the calf unless others are. I'm playing it straight here. I had the calf, had to leave Eurobasket. Okay, I'm going to play it straight. If we get a report, Alex Sarr's limping into training camp, okay, an adjustment will be made. We haven't heard that yet. I'm a little bit worried about Bub Carrington, Doc, with Trey Johnson being drafted 6th overall. I presume they want to play Trey Johnson. I don't really see a pathway to minutes for him right now with CJ McCollum there and with Bub Carrington there. But in my theory for the team may not coincide with Coach, is it O'Keefe or Keefe? I can't remember. But whatever the coach of Washington is, he may have a different theory. But again, I'm playing it straight with Bub until I see otherwise. And he's one of my favorite guard sleepers. I'm going to take CJ McCollum late, Doc. I am.
I know you are.
Even if I only get 60% of the year from CJ McCollum and he's like bought out and traded into oblivion, I don't damn know what he's not going to finish the year in Washington. And I don't know how that looks in March and April. I don't. But I have a feeling, Doc, that October, November, December, and January are going to look really freaking good from CJ McCollum on a terrible Washington team. So I think he's a nice sleeper. Bilal Coulibaly, I will mess with him, Doc. And then just two of my young fellas, dude. Two of my young fellas. I love me some Keyshawn George.
Yeah, I forgot to mention Keyshawn.
I want Keyshawn George to start over Chris Middleton to begin the season. I'm not sure they're going to rock that way. They started Middleton last year, okay? So I don't know how they're going to rock. But so that's a huge training camp thing for me. Like first preseason game, if they come out, all dressed up and they're putting their lineup out there and Keyshawn George is starting and Chris Middleton's coming off the bench, Doc, you and me are going to be howling about that on the Fantasy NBA today. And then my boy Cam Whitmore. Cam Whitmore's the homie, dude. He's Cam vetted. I can't wait to see this guy unleashed. But here's the pivot with Cam Whitmore. He needs CJ McCollum to be traded or bought out. And then it's Cam Whitmore season. But I don't think it'll be Cam Whitmore season, Doc, until CJ McCollum is moved out of there.
Yeah. Chris Middleton. Like you look at this lineup and you're like, one of these things is not like the other. And it's freaking old man, one-legged Chris Middleton dirtying up the pond. Like, come on. I just want him to go away.
Dude, we have finally hit an old head that I agree with you on. I'm usually trying to take the other side, but Middleton on this team, it's like the worst fit in the NBA.
Middleton is like that moron that is driving 1 mile under the speed limit in the left lane and has no plans on ever getting out of the left lane. Like, dude, there's a million cars lined up behind you. You're going the same speed as the dude next. You're like, come on. That's Middleton. He's holding everything up. He's clogging up the line.
Sorry, I had to cough. No soup for you. It made me think of a soup line. Players to avoid for me, Chris Middleton and Trey Johnson. And I have question marks by Trey Johnson because I just don't know. Is he a point? Is he a shooting guard? Is he going to start? Is he going to come off the bench? Is he going to play 10 minutes or 25 minutes? I just don't know. But do you have an avoid list for the Wizards?
Not really. I don't think I'm going to be drafted. Well, I know I'm not drafting Chris Middleton, but I don't think I'm going to end up with any McCollum. And especially in leagues where you and I are in the league together. You know how a lot of times I like to come out of nowhere and just start taking your guys randomly and just making you so upset. Well, I don't think you have to worry about that with CJ.
Dude, Mozales did that to me in our Sports Ethos League that we're actually playing out. We did a podcast recently. I was going on and on and on about Ray Davis because James Cook is going to blow a tire. He's a career year theory guy. He had like 20 TDs last year. He's going to blow a tire. Something's going to go wrong. And Ray Davis is going to be the guy in Buffalo. If you're out there, like, go get Ray Davis off your waiver wire, okay, in fantasy football. And so he sniped me on Ray Davis. And I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, but it is what it is. We do shows, we exchange ideas, we open thoughts and doors and in our minds. And so I don't know if Mozales was high on Ray Davis or if I kind of sold him on Ray Davis, but shout out to John Mozales. Love that dude. And he's in the Cam dynasty and hopefully I can take his money this year. But I look forward to competing with him and everybody else in that Sports Ethos League. But he got Ray Davis, and I was like, dang, man, it was literally going to be my next pick was Ray Davis. So good on you, John, for that pick. Doc, are the Washington Wizards going to tank at the end of the year, and will we have silly season heroes once again for this team, head coached by Brian Keefe?
Isn't that what Washington does that's what they do. Like they're a silly season breeding ground. I just, they're so bad. But you know what? There will be a time when Keyshawn George will be a hot pickup. There will be a time when your guy Cam Whitmore, everybody will be playing him in DFS. Like they just manufacture these one-nighters or these one-weekers or silly season, whatever. They're so weird.
All right, Doc, let's move on to our last team. But first, I want to say to you guys, don't forget during the offseason, we're going to be answering listener questions, okay? Head over to the Sports Ethos YouTube channel, find our most recent video, drop your question in the comments, okay? We'll be pulling those out and answering them in upcoming episodes. Doc, we get the Charlotte Hornets And who are we targeting on this team? You first.
Miles Bridges and Brandon Miller. I'll take either of them. The rest of these guys, Kalkbrenner and Kneppel and LaMelo, and no, I can't.
I'm with you, brother. I'm with you. And you owe no apology to nobody about any of that. Super high on Brandon Miller. So is Doc. Hopefully we're turning a lot of you onto Brandon Miller. Don't take him in the second round, okay? Take him, at ADP or when it feels good to you, but take him. He's going to have a tremendous breakout year. Look at his numbers again from last year. The steal 3-ball combo was elite, okay? Super, super high on Brandon Miller. I'm an ADP guy with Miles Bridges. I will draft away Miles Bridges at ADP. I'm not going over ADP, and he'll probably maybe even fade around after ADP. Some people just aren't going to do business with him, and that's fine. I appreciate that opinion. But if he's up to bat and he's the right forward at that time, I'm going to take him. Colin Sexton as well, Doc. This is more of a deep league thing. But maybe even like a waiver wire thing a month into the season after LaMelo Ball blows a tire. But I do have my eye on Colin Sexton because I think there's going to be some big games this year for him in that Charlotte uniform. I'm avoiding Ball. We've talked about that endlessly. Kneppel, he'll have that Grady Dick, 12, 13 points, 2 3-balls, nothing else, right? And I like him. Good player, stretch the floor, catch and shoot, get it. Totally cool with all that, but not for fantasy. And then the centers, Doc. It just looks like a mess. Kalkbrenner and Diabate, and isn't Nurkic? No, it's not Nurkic. It's Mason Plumlee. Just looks like a mess to me. So Doc, is Charlotte going to tank, and are they going to be silly season heroes at the end of the year?
Yes. They're terrible. They're so bad. They won 19 games last year.
Oh, my God.
They'll be lucky to win 19 games this year.
19
Washington won 18.
Dude, it's literally hard to lose that many games. To win 18 games is just absolutely pathetic. It's just pathetic.
Their winning percentage was 23%.
You just seriously have to be kidding me, dude. All right, we have reached a very, very fun portion of the show, Doc, here on the Fantasy NBA today, presented by FanDuel. It is the FanDuel win total for the New York Knicks, Doc, 53.5. Are you going over or under on the Knickies at that number?
I'm going under. And we discussed this in
You
depth.
are a hater. You are a hater. Controversial opinion after controversial opinion.
We already discussed this at length. I think I'm going Orlando over the Knicks.
My goodness.
And for that to happen, they're going to have to be under that number. I may be completely wrong here. And last year I picked the Knicks to win the East. But now Tibbs is gone, man. And how much of what they were doing was tied to Tibbs? That's the question that we don't have the answer to yet. Nobody knows. And, how many quarts are in a gallon, sir? Nobody knows. That's where we are. And until I know what's going on with the Knicks, I kind of want the Knicks to be good. I just don't know if they're going to be. So I'm going to go under.
Wow. Knicks, you got some proving to do with that. I think they got Gershon Yabusele. He just said, what was it, Andre? A 36 piece in Eurobasket. He's ready to go off that bench. Jordan Clarkson. You still have Miles McBride and Mitchell Robinson. You're 9 deep, dude. They're nasty as F. The Knicks they're the nastiest team in the East. They're even nastier than Cleveland because the Knicks got dog. Okay, they got dog. Cleveland doesn't have enough dog. They don't. The Knicks proved that to them in a playoff series 2 years ago. The Cavs got dog, but they don't have as much dog as the Knicks, and that's going to prevail with that. So that's interesting. I'm going to go over on this number, Doc, but it's not a bet for me. Because I think they're going to hit 54, 55 wins. That's not a bet for me. It's 53.5. I think they're going to literally be over this number by a half or one. That's not a bettable opportunity. I could see them going under this number too, dude. However, Doc, it's the freaking Eastern Conference. This conference sucks. Insert expletive here. There's got to be 53, 54 wins out of this Knick team in that conference. So it's an over for me because I'll play the game here, but it would not be a bet. It would not be actionable Guys, if you're enjoying the show, make sure you subscribe to the Fantasy NBA Today podcast so you don't miss any episode. Please drop us a 5-star review and subscribe to the Sports Ethos YouTube channel. Most of our episodes are available there. Plus, you can hang out with us live as we prep to dominate in fantasy basketball and the preseason and during the season. For Hall of Famer Steve Alexander and the great Andre Lemus, he's behind the curtain, like right over there. I am Rick Kamla. Thank you for watching the Fantasy NBA Today, presented by FanDuel.